Oh, hey, I'm Mike. Welcome back to Moto Tests. If this is your first episode, I guess, given that it's only number 2. Former motocross racer, fairly high level, former, or still kind of race off-road and such, but this is Moto Tests. We take bikes that I have, friends have, the dealerships that I work with have, and we bring them for a ride and tell you what we think about them. More from an average perspective, right? There's a lot of guys out there that are still pros, giving you their opinions on bikes. There's a lot of people out there that are beginners who classify themselves as intermediate riders that give their opinions on bikes. We're just gonna give you an average opinion. We're gonna go have fun, take a bike for a ride, come along, and at the end, kind of tell you what we think about it. And yeah, our videos will probably have mistakes in them, but that's okay, right? Today we're gonna ride a CRF300L Rally 2023. The 300L Rally, or 300L, probably one of the most popular bikes in the world in the last 5 to 8 years, right? So there's plenty of videos out there. The plan was to do a 2022 Bouchon Bras 250 Recon, but some scheduling conflicts happened, so we didn't get our hands on that bike, but we're still shooting to do that bike next week. So thanks for tuning in and come along. Let's have a moto test. Oh yeah, and today's video, it's brought to you by Fly Racing. You thought I meant Fly Racing, the gear company, didn't you? No, we're talking about Fly's literally racing. It's crazy.
All right, here we are on 2023 Honda CRF300L Rally. Like we said at the start of the last video, quad lock. The only thing that you need for your phone on a motorcycle. Don't use RAM mounts or a bag to put your phone in. Quad lock is the best there is, no question. I don't know how well you'll hear me, so if necessary, I will do voiceovers. This particular 300L Rally has an aftermarket exhaust, and it's quite a bit louder than a normal one. Run up the hill, we're going to get some petrol, as our friends in the old land like to say. Alright, because my wife likes it so much when I talk when I'm riding, because she says that she can't hear me, I like to do that. We're headed up to the same place. We need to find a new place to do this kind of stuff. I'm relocating in November back east, so we'll have a new route for dual sport bikes, a new route for street bikes, and a new motocross track for testing MX bikes, and then a trail somewhere for testing off-road bikes. Alright, hopefully you can hear me over the wind noise. I want to do a better job of explaining this time, and I will put a voiceover if it doesn't come through. This hill that twists back and forth that brings you up, this is what I'm using as a test for dual sport motorcycles to see, 1, how long it takes me to get up the hill, and 2, how fast they can go up the hill. The KLR had plenty of power. I could do 70, I could do 80, I could do 60. Some bikes, particularly this one, I'll start the bottom of this hill at 70 and I'll be in the 50s at the top of the hill. So this is merely just a street test of how much the bike can carry speed-wise going up a hill. And I know that it doesn't look steep because a GoPro flattens it, but that's the purpose of it. So let's get up to 70 and head up the hill.
Alright guys, here we are. So I'm just showing you, this is the portion that I use to validate how much speed and the timing that it takes for one of these dual sports to carry up this hill. With everything, a GoPro flattens everything out, so it's actually relatively decent hill that sweeps back and forth. This bike, like I'll talk about in a second, With the stock exhaust, I could start the bottom of the hill at 70, and by the time I got to the top of the hill, I was doing 53, 52 miles an hour when I got to the top of the hill. That's why the Yoshimura slip-on was a huge difference, where you can see here I can carry 60s, and at the very top, 64 to 65. That's a 10 mile an hour increase over what I was capable of with the stock muffler or silencer, depending on what you call it. So we'll get more into it. That's it for this current voiceover. Thanks for watching, and let's keep going.
All right, welcome to the test trail. So let's talk about what I was trying to say. So we came up the hill, and at the top of the hill we were doing 64 to 65 miles an hour, right? That's decent for this bike. And that mostly came from, surprisingly, just the slip-on Yoshimura washboarded. When I had the stock silencer or muffler from Europe on this thing, I would be going 54, 53 miles an hour at the top of that hill. Just by putting a Yosh slip-on this bike, you can see 10 miles an hour faster going up that hill. Obviously, I don't have any footage of doing it with the stock silencer.
All right, here we are, back at the same spot that we did the KLR. It is windy today, so take that into consideration. I'm in Wyoming. It's always windy in Wyoming. It's never not windy in Wyoming. So just a heads up on that. We've made it to the trailhead where we do our dual sport adventure bike tests and such. So we'll bring you through the same trail as we did with the KLR 650 from episode 1. Like I said, if you didn't watch it, swing by and watch it. And if you like watching these kind of videos, by all means, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Maybe we can grow this channel. The whole purpose of this is it's provided by Hoyt Power Sports. I'm retiring from my current job, relocating in November. I'm gonna get another job for a couple years and then hopefully open my own dealership. All right, so here we are, the 2023 Honda CRF300L Rally. This is a non-ABS model. Honda offers it in two variations, ABS and non-ABS. This one's non-ABS. This bike is relatively stock. It doesn't have a whole lot of performance upgrades and things like that. It does have a Tusk rear rack, and currently my helmet is sitting on top of a Tusk rear rack, and it does usually have a Rotopax on the back, but I didn't put it on to go for a trail ride. It does have the Seat Concepts Comfort XL seat, and this is an unpopular opinion, I know, but I'm just gonna say it. It's not worth the money. This seat costs $400. It takes a month to get. It's high quality. It looks really great, but it does not offer you $400 more comfort than the stock seat does. Had I ridden on one before I purchased it, I would not have bought it. This has Turbis frame guards, and it has DRC pegs. They're a little bit more moto style and wider than the stock pegs. It has Tusk D-Flex Pro hand guards and Tusk Chubb handlebars with risers. It's got a Pro Grip Adventure grip on it. It has a mount for GPS. The suspension is not done. Those Race Tech stickers are just there to protect the forks from rocks and chips. Overall, it's a standard 300L Rally. It does have a Yoshimura slip-on exhaust, just the silencer or the muffler. There's no point to the header. You aren't going to get that much performance gain from that. It's just how it is. Here it is. If you have any questions, it also has a Tusk tank bag, and inside it has a Tusk auxiliary port. If you have any questions about it, by all means, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But overall, it's just a basic 300L Rally. I will put up the spec sheets from the Honda Power Sports website so you can look at that. It currently has around 800 miles to 900 miles on it, and it's averaging about 70 miles to the gallon. I did a 2-day moto camping trip where I took this particular bike and it averaged 72 miles to the gallon. It does run IRC trail GP tires. They are the worst stocked tires that I've ever been on a dirt sport or anything. So this bike will be getting Tusk D-Sport tires in the near future. It also obviously has that sweet quad lock.
Alright, let's head up the trail and see. So, 300 Rally. The last major upgrade to this motorcycle literally was going from the 250L Rally to the 300L Rally. And obviously, it's not a true 300. It's 286 cc's. It's got 43 millimeter inverted forks with no adjustments, and they are the biggest talking point of this motorcycle as being its main weak point. That being said, I personally do not believe it's this motorcycle's weak point. This type of trail is great on this bike. A dirt road, this bike makes a dirt road so much more fun than a dirt road should ever be. This is not a trail slayer. And everybody attempting to turn it into one that makes these claims and puts them on YouTube, everyone believes that it needs to have the suspension done. It's not true. It is not true. If you want to use it as a single track bike, then yes, you need the suspension stiffer. But that's not what this is. If you want a single track bike, why not buy one? And if you want it to be street legal, KTM makes it under KTM, Husky, and Gas. Beta makes amazing ones. Honda makes one. It's called the CRF300L. Buy those. That's not what this bike is. This bike literally runs the same engine as the Rebel 300, the CBR 300, the CB 300. This has basically a street bike engine put into a dirt platform. This bike is not designed for that. And here in Wyoming, you see the beautiful Wyoming rocks. They're one of the most thriving wildlife species here in the Rocky Mountains is jagged, sharp little rocks. Let's get back going here. Well, just like with that rear tire will slide. Just like with the KLR, this bike compared, this is a dual sport, right? But if you want to use this, make sure my tires seem weird. If you want to use this as a light adventure bike, it's more than capable. And it will do more in the trail. Like this is just 2 track, so you know a big bike would be fine on here, like a GS or a Pan America or an Africa Twin or a Tiger or whatever Triumph's calling them these days. We'll be fine in something like this. That being said, this trail is equal to any BDR expert section. BDR expert sections, I would have no problems bringing a new rider to on a regular trail bike. they're expert sections because they're more difficult on big bikes for less skilled riders. That's why they call that dirt road slayer, a BDR killer. That's what this bike is. But so overall, this bike is so much better in the woods than an actual adventure bike. That's why you see a lot of people turning them into light adventure bikes, because they're just better. It still feels like a dirt bike. Okay, remember, from this corner to that tree is our off-road speed test. So let's do that. Tree. This bike can crawl too, right? If we come, right, basically, and we will just, 90% of bikes are stalling in this situation. But this thing, fine, right? 9 miles an hour, just crawling. See how slow we can get it, let people at 5. $5 miles an hour, no clutch, didn't even think of stalling. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. I don't think my off-road bike could do that, but my off-road bike's a 2-stroke. This bike is versatile. It's good on the road. It's good. I mean, it's not good on the road. It's good. It is good on the road. It's good on the road as long as you're 55 or less. Anything above that, it's miserable. It's great in the city. Like I ride this to work often. I have a street bike. I guess, yeah, that just. Let's see if we can get up to our 50 miles an hour that we like to do. We could have went faster too, so that's not bad. Should do 50 in a trail. She's super fun. That's my rule. So I ride this thing to work often because it's really good in the city. And I think this might be one of the most versatile bikes made, right? It's definitely one of the most popular bikes, but over the last decade. If you want a commuter to get back and forth to work, something you can go down the road on, and on the weekend or after work, you can rip over and ride a trail, this bike can do it. And it's getting, right now, 68.7 miles per gallon. That's ludicrous. And it does say mile gallon, just in case some nerd wants to speak up and say, that's average speed. No, it's on miles per gallon. Whether you're a street rider or a dirt rider, a dual sport is going to give you the best of both worlds. And a dual sport, every day of the week, is going to be better in the woods than an adventure bike. And that's just how it is. And it's not a shot at it. Adventure bikes aren't designed for that. Some people do it, some people can do it, but that's just not what they're made for. So, that's my opinion. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Look for an episode next week on the Bras 250 Recon.
All right. CRF300L Rally. So do it a little differently this time because I mess up my letters apparently. I'll just do it with you guys like this. So is the bike good on the road? No. 55 and under, it's adequate, right? It'll do it, whatever. Above 55, ugh, especially for multiple, like an hour plus ride, not great. That being said, even at 70 miles an hour consistently, it's getting 68 miles to the gallon. Is it good off-road? Yes. If the bike's used as it's intended, dirt roads, double track, it's great. Literally. And yes, it could ride single track and hop rocks and logs if you did the suspension, but that's not what the bike was designed for. So that's not how I'm going to use it. Is it a beginner bike or an advanced bike? Honestly, it's an everybody bike. And I don't want to get into this thing where we're back and forth of beginner bike, whatever, right? All small displacement bikes are good beginner bikes, but they can also be great advanced rider bikes. I'm an advanced rider. I love the bike. I like slow bikes, honestly. Like a lot of the bikes I buy are slow because I find them more fun. You know, my 450 motocross bike is a rocket ship and I love it, but I have more fun on my Beta 200RR that I trail ride. So there. A new question added. Would I spend my own money to buy one? Obviously, in this case, yes, because that's my personal 300 Rally. But I do, after riding the KLR 650 last week, think, man, I should have bought a KLR 650. So I probably will add one of those to my motorcycles. But grade, I'm going to give it a solid C- on the road. It's great in town and it's good cruising 40, 50-ish, but long rides. And if you're like me, like from here to the trail that we do these tests on, I'm about 30 minutes. It's not great for that ride. Is it good in the dirt? If it's used how it's designed, it's an A, right? If it's used how it's not designed, I'd probably give it a B. It's just not the power delivery and all that stuff. You can dump thousands and thousands and thousands of motorcycles into this, but as you saw earlier, it's a $6,100 motorcycle. You're not getting a return on that investment. That's just you throwing money at something for no reason. So unless you plan on keeping this bike until you die, I wouldn't suggest throwing that kind of money in it because you're never going to get it back. But that's the grades. It's a C- on the road. It's an A on the dirt if it's used for its intended purpose. Dirt roads, double track. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for tuning in for another Moto Test. Hopefully we can keep this going. You guys can like and share and subscribe and pass it along and we can build this up. And if it all works the way it's supposed to, this is all leading up to Hoyt Power Sports, which is a motorcycle dealership that I'm trying to open for myself. And we will probably deal Betas, Royal Enfields, and Cove. If Cove continues on its current trajectory, it's actually making a lot of ground and doing good things. So thanks for tuning in to Moto Test. I'm Mike. I'll see you next time.